Lately I've been watching Star Trek Enterprise once again. While watching it from the very start, there is one question that bugs me. It's simple. Who was the NX-01 Enterprise's first officer? Now yes, T'Pol is the first officer under Captain Jonathan Archer. However, she was only transferred there due to the mission of returning Klang to the Klingon Homeworld. The Vulcan High Command and Starfleet Command saw her as a chaperone for Archer's inexperienced crew. Her posting with the rank of sub-commander also allowed Enterprise access to the Vulcan star charts. While T'Pol would prove a valuable asset to Captain Archer and the NX-01 crew, what if events were different? Who would have been Enterprise's original first officer? It has to be a member of Starfleet, and we have a few ideas about who it might be. Welcome to Trek Central, I'm your host Captain Jack, and let's get into it. But before we do warp into this video, if you want to keep up to date on all the latest Star Trek news, lore and more, then make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media for daily updates on the Star Trek universe. But as always, please let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, because if you're talking about Star Trek, then we want to hear about it. Okay, engage. Due to the broken bow incident in April 2151, the NX-01 Enterprise's launch window was ahead of schedule by 3 weeks. As such, Archer scrambled to assemble the last of his command crew. He had to go and ask Ensign Hoshi Sato to be a part of his crew on short notice. Enterprise would also launch without her spatial torpedoes calibrated, and her phase cannons were not even installed at the time of launch. As such, we know it's a bit of a quick job to launch the NX-01 in the first place. Perhaps the Starfleet officer had not yet been picked for the rank of First Officer. For the sake of this video, we will presume there was a First Officer scheduled to join Archer or already there. They were bumped down or sidelined due to Starfleet conceding having to pull aboard at the request of the Vulcans. So, who is our first candidate for the NX-01's First Officer position? It has to be Commander Tucker. Charles Tucker III was the Chief Engineer of the Enterprise NX-01. He was also the second highest ranking Starfleet crew member behind Captain Archer. That is, before T'Pol was officially commissioned by Starfleet. So would Trip have been the first officer? Of course, as the chief engineer, he was rather busy. But this was a different age for Starfleet, and the XO may have been only needed on the bridge for part of the time. As such, Trip could quickly fill that role. On Memory Alpha, Tucker's initial job as first officer is mentioned, yet I can't find any mention of that within the episodes themselves. For example, this mention only comes under personal relationships, though it does mention the first officer position was given to T'Pol. Tucker is never officially referred to as the first officer. Now, Tucker's friendship with Captain Archer could have also contributed to his selection as the first officer. They have a fantastic working relationship that extended to saving each other's lives on more than one occasion. Tucker actually met Archer when they were both working on the NX program, where he was a lieutenant working on Captain Jeffrey's engineering team. While it seems a logical answer would be Trip being the XO, without it being confirmed in canon, I'm not sure we can say he originally was meant to be, but I believe that it would be so. What do you think? The next option for the NX-01 XO would be someone we also encounter in Star Trek Enterprise. While Captain Hernandez would turn up as a newly promoted captain in charge of a second NX-class ship, Columbia, she would be closely connected to Captain Jonathan Archer. Hernandez was previously romantically involved with Archer. However, when Archer was promoted, he broke off their relationship. It is suggested that Hernandez would have had the rank of commander or at least lieutenant commander at this point, so when Archer was promoted to captain, he was her superior officer. With T'Pol being made first officer, it is possible that Hernandez was pushed out as the Enterprise NX-01 first officer. Before she took command of the NX-02 Columbia, she was stationed on board the Republic. She was likely the first officer of the Republic under Captain Jennings, as she would later leave to command the Columbia. The only controversial matter about her being the XO would be her previous relationship with Captain Archer. This could complicate matters. Ultimately, Captain Hernandez would prove to be a great captain of the NX-02 Columbia. You can watch our dedicated video on the fate of the NX-02 Columbia, which is actually a bit of a tragic fate. Check it out here on the channel. Commander Williams is another character who could have been the first officer of the NX-01 Enterprise. He was a 22nd century Starfleet officer who appeared in the very first episode of Star Trek Enterprise. You actually see him at Starfleet Medical in 2151. He is among the group of Starfleet officers who talk with Vulcan Ambassador Saval about the issue of a Klingon known as Klang. Now, Commander Williams would pop up a few times, usually as the aide to Admiral Maxwell Forrest. For example, when Jonathan Archer and the Enterprise were accused of disobeying direct orders, Williams angrily defended Archer and the Enterprise crew. These conversations showed Williams' strong loyalty to the crew of the NX-01 and Jonathan Archer in particular. Williams only appeared a few times in the Star Trek Enterprise series. Given his high position as a commander and seemingly the attaché to Admiral Forrest, it's possible that his original position would have been the first officer of the NX-01 Enterprise. His story is greatly expanded in the books of Star Trek Enterprise, which takes place after the conclusion of the series. Williams would work for Admiral Forrest's successor, Admiral Gardner. He would be promoted to captain and then work for Archer until he resigned after being found to be working for Section 31, a rogue spy agency. Okay, so this was a little theory video. Commander Tucker would have likely been the first officer of the NX-01 Enterprise if T'Pol had not been placed on board by the Vulcan High Command and Starfleet. The mention of it on his Memory Alpha page, the official Star Trek Wikipedia page, somewhat confirms that, even if there's no actual mention of it in canon. It seems not one that I can find. Tucker is never officially referred to as the first officer. In some ways, I wish we'd gotten a Star Trek Enterprise episode where T'Pol had not joined the crew and we got to see how the Enterprise coped without the Vulcan assistance. Could Archer and his crew have pulled things off without her? Maybe we would have even seen more of Trip in command of the NX-01. He made a really good commander during the Forge episodes of Enterprise in Season 4. As a quick note, we of course totally love T'Pol in Star Trek Enterprise, and this video is by no means a slight against her character, rather exploring what could have been in the Star Trek universe. With so many alternative timelines, different timelines, and weird situations, it's sometimes fun to look at how things could have been in the Star Trek universe. As we leave off this video, who would you like to have seen as the Enterprise NX-01 First Officer? Remember, you can check out our Enterprise videos here using the end screen. Here's one on the fate of every Enterprise crew member. If you want to keep up to date on the latest Star Trek news, lore, and more, then make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media or join our community Discord server. For now, I've been Captain Jack, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Live long and prosper, my friends.